Hello, hello. Hey, hey everyone. Hopefully you guys can all hear me. My name is Kai, and I'm going to be producing or showing you a little bit about the Motion Live webinar today. We're going to be talking about live face as well as the FaceWare motion capture for characters' faces. We're not going to be talking about body capture in this webinar, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask me any questions you might have later on. We're going to have a short Q&A session, question and answer session at the end of this webinar. So feel free to get in touch in your Q&A panel there. On your Zoom panel, there should be a Q&A section there. Just enter in any questions you have in that little section, and I'll get to those at the very end of the webinar. Okay, and you can throw those in there at any point in the webinar if you have a question as we're going along. Feel free to throw those in there at that point. All right, there's also a chat window, which I'm not really going to be worrying too much about. I may throw some links in the chat window at some point, so you can check out the chat window and follow those links. And yeah, that's about the process that we're going to be going through. I'm going to be showing you a live demo here, live face. You're going to see my my ugly mug here in just a moment here, and we're going to be kind of having some fun going through the live face presentation. Okay, so in addition to that, we are recording this. So if you miss anything, or if I go too fast at some point, or you want to review something on your own time, we are recording it. So we'll send out a link, a YouTube link to you that you can check out as well. We are also streaming this live on YouTube, and I also believe on Facebook at this point here. So feel free to watch on any one of those platforms as well. And I think that's about it. We're also going to be sending out a survey at the end of this webinar for you guys. So if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, feel free to put those in the survey. We're going to be sending you a $10 or 10% discount from the content store. Okay, so if you fill that survey for us, you'll get that 10% coupon for anything you want to purchase at the content store. Your feedback is always very valuable to us. It helps us to create better webinars and better tutorials and all that fun stuff that you probably get tired of hearing my voice after a while, after going through all these tutorials. Anyways, okay, let's continue on. Now, what else do I need to talk about here? We are, there's also a weekly special I want to mention here as well. So if you check out the content store, every week we have a weekly special in the content store. So the weekly special for this week is Conforming Hair Volume 2. Now, I can super highly recommend this. If you don't get a hold of this, you just get it. It's totally worth it. There's all kinds of cool hairstyles. That's one of the things that people are always looking for more of is different hairstyles. And we're launching more all the time. So this is a really good price for Conforming Hair Volume 2 here. You can see that $20 for the export license. Highly recommended to check it out. Some really cool styles. And you can take a look at that on your own time. We're not going to worry too much about showing it off. You can just go through here, physics, conforming hair. So you can adjust your character's head shape and everything like that, and it'll conform to all that. And we'll probably throw this in the chat window if you want to take a look at it. Again, this week only, you get that super cool discount. It looks like yep, link is already in there. Okay. Cool. So that is it for the special today. I got to move this GoToWebinar panel out of my way here. It's getting in the way of my tabs. Okay, there we go. Maybe over here it'll be good. Okay, so I talked about this weekly special there. Let's just go over a little bit about what we're going to be talking about in this webinar. So this is the one we're looking at right now, the Motion Live Mocap solution. We're going to be talking about how to set up Motion Live gear profiles, okay? Also capturing some raw facial motion capture. We're going to be doing some motion capture for lip syncing, as well as talking about the various settings. And we're going to spend a good deal of time editing and refining the facial animations, okay? You may get a perfect capture the first time, and if you do, that's fine. But there's also options for you to edit and refine. iClone is a motion tool that allows you to do that. Okay, very easy to do as well. And we can talk about saving and reusing facial animations. Okay, so that's the outline of what we're going to do. I'm going to also put this link in here for you guys. If you already have Motion Live, you probably know about this, but this is kind of like the help file for Motion Live. I'm going to throw this in the chat window, okay, for everyone to read. if you want to take a look at any points. Okay, so this is the manual for Motion Live, and this basically will answer all your questions. But if you're not a reader, you can just listen to me blabber on about this stuff. I'm going to be going through most of the stuff in this webinar, anyways. Okay, so just a whole bunch of help files. Just want to throw the manual in there for you guys to review. Okay, so Motion Live, just a brief introduction. I don't want to spend too much time on it because we've had it out for a little while now. But for those of you who are new to Motion Live is a plugin for iClone. Okay, so iClone is our motion creation editing software. There's a lot more than that, but we're going to be focusing on the motion aspect. And Motion Live is a plugin for iClone that allows you to basically aggregate any motion capture data from major motion capture hardware such as OptiTrack. We have Xsense, Perception Neuron, Rococo, Leap Motion, iPhone 10, all kinds of different tools that you can use to capture motion capture data for your face or your body or your hands, and we aggregate that all into this plugin. So the plugin contains gear profiles. Okay, so what you need to do is if you are using like a separate gear profile, you need to find your profile here. Okay, so first your gear, so you're using a webcam, mocap suit, whatever, iPhone or glove, and then we go into the profile. So you need to purchase the separate profile for whatever you're using. Okay, and then we're going to, in this webinar here, we're talking about capturing, editing. We're not going to export in this webinar here, but if you have any questions, again, feel free to ask me at any point. Okay, and I'm not going to go into too much detail on this page because you can take a look at this page on your own time. Just a lot of angry-looking James right there. A lot of really cool stuff you can check out. A lot of showcases on this page. This is using the Leap Motion controller, which is, I think, fairly good for the hand. It's fairly inexpensive. We won't talk about that in this webinar, unfortunately, but perhaps in a future one. Okay, and you can kind of browse this stuff on your own time. I don't want to go into too much detail here. I think a lot of people just want to get to the meat and potatoes of actually doing the capture and doing the settings and all that stuff, and using all the editing tools. So again, you can export into game engine and animation tools. And we also now have the live export to Unreal Engine. Okay, and in the future, we're also going to have live export into Unity for any of you game designers. Okay, and okay, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff here to browse on your own time. Okay, so if you want to try it or buy it, you can click on try or buy up here. Okay, this is the required stuff. So you need iClone. You don't need 3D Exchange, but if you want to export your motion capture data to another program such as Motion Builder, Max, Maya, whatever you're using, you'll need to have the 3D Exchange pipeline because that allows you to export your data into other software. Motion Live, of course, is the plugin we talked about. And down here are all the gear profiles. Okay, so for the hand, we have Leap Motion, and we will have Xsense in the near future here this summer. And the face is iPhone and FaceWare right now, and body we have Perception Neuron, Rococo, Xsense, and OptiTrack. So these are all the gear profiles, and you can contact me if you are looking for prices on all of these for the Xsense and OptiTrack, and so on and so forth. Okay, I don't think there's too much more to explain here for you guys. Here's a bundle that I really highly recommend. We have a Rococo bundle as well. I like the Rococo suit. I also like the Perception Neuron suit. I've used both, and you can ask me any questions you have later on. Okay, but I don't want to go just blabber on too much. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this presentation, and that is going to be the setup. Okay, so first of all, we're going to talk about setting up your profile or setting up your capture. Okay, we're going to talk about both FaceWare and Live Face, which is the iPhone 10 gear profile in this webinar. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is let's actually just maximize this one right here. I'm going to talk about ideal lighting, and to do that, I'm going to load this lighting project. We're going to be using this Rihanna lookalike model later on for facial capture. Okay, but I'm just going to load this lighting project here. Now, we've done webinars on Motion Live in the past, and we have a series of tutorials done by Mike Sherwood, who's been, who helped us throughout the beta for our facial motion capture and is probably much more knowledgeable than even I am about all this stuff. And you can probably find his tutorials on the YouTube channel. I'll get to that a little bit later in the Q&A session. But for now, let's focus on this. So what you want to do for your facial capture, for your setup, is you want to make sure that you have even lighting on your face. Okay, so right here, this character's face right here is evenly lit. There's no shadows on the face. So there's no shadows really under the eyebrows. There's no shadows beside the nose. You know, the lighting it's a soft light facing directly 90 degrees to the character's face, okay, from the front. And that's the ideal lighting scenario that we want. It's very important, especially with FaceWare, to get good lighting. I find that the iPhone 10, it's a bit more forgiving when it comes to lighting, but FaceWare, you need to make sure that your lighting is very accurate and your face is directly focused on the camera. Okay, so the way I achieve this kind of lighting, just for your reference, when you're setting up at home, I'm going to go to my scene manager here, and under lights, we have a number of different lights here. Let's just move this over. Okay, so we have a number of directional lights. We can see those right here. If we want, we can activate or deactivate. Okay, so you can see we have a bunch of lights we can turn on and off. In this webinar, we're only using this one spotlight. Okay, and the way we're achieving this kind of nice even lighting with just the spotlight is if I go to the side here, you'll see that actually, hey, we have this big panel in front of our character. And this is just a prop. This is just a big plane that we put in front of our character. And planes like this are the best way to achieve a very even lighting, okay? And this is done through global illumination in iClone, where we don't need to worry about that when we're setting it up at home. But I mean, ideally, I'll show you my face in just a sec here. What I'm doing is I'm just facing a window. So I have natural sunlight coming in through the window. And it's fairly evenly lit on my face, and you'll see me in just a sec. There's not going to be any hard shadows. Like you don't want to have some like film noir lighting where the light's right above your face and it's creating like high contrast shadows, because that will confuse the FaceWare program, or FaceWare for real time for iClone. And I'll show you that in just a sec here as well. The way you can achieve that is this is the box right here. Okay, so we can make it invisible or visible. And you can see we make it invisible, that the lighting goes away. And let's make our spotlight visible. You can see the spotlight is shining directly onto this panel here, okay? And it's using global illumination to reflect the light onto the character. So this is very even lighting. I mean, ideally, the physical equivalent in the real life of this would be having a light. You can cover it with like a big piece of paper, so like those soft studio lights. Just imagine there's a light behind it, and this is kind of a semi-transparent piece of paper, and that often creates a very nice even light on a face. Okay, and that's really all I wanted to show you for the lighting. I don't want to focus too much on this. Let's get into the other stuff here. So I'm just going to load up the other project here again. We're not going to use this character for the project. Let's go ahead and use our female character here. We don't need to save this for now. If you have any more questions about global illumination, you can ask me in the Q&A section. I'll explain more about that. But since it's not really the topic of focus here, I'm just going to assume that maybe you have hopefully beginner knowledge of it. And again, any questions, feel free to ask me that later if you feel it's relevant. Okay, so here's our female character. All right, looking really good. Again, this is a conforming hairstyle. Pretty cool stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up the FaceWare first. Okay, so with FaceWare, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to my desktop here. And with FaceWare, when you purchase the FaceWare gear profile, you're going to get this program called Real Time for iClone. Okay, so this is the capture. This is the capture program that's capturing the data. So if you double click this, you're going to see my face in just a second here. It's going to load up. And this is where the data, there we go. This is where the data is coming from. That's being, let me just get my laptop right here. Okay. I always have a lot of trouble really finding my bearings when I'm doing this. Okay, but you can see the tracking, okay, on my mouth. my eyebrows, okay, and eyes and everything like that, okay. Now what you want to do here is you can see on the top right, it says calibrated no, okay. And you see this flashing thing here, it says calibrate neutral pose, okay. So this is just basically, you get yourself in a neutral pose and you click calibrate, okay. Now before we do that, I want to get into a little bit of the settings here, okay. You can see we're currently not connected to iClone. I'm using a 1280 by 720 resolution. My tracking frames per second is roughly 30, and same with the video frames per second here as well. I find that with my FaceWare on my laptop, on this particular laptop, these are the ideal settings for me. But what I would recommend is for each individual scenario, what you want to do is go up here to edit and settings. Okay, and you can see I'm just using a built-in webcam. Okay, I don't have another option. You can also import in an image sequence. So like a video of your face, you can just turn it into an image sequence and you can do a motion capture off of that. If you don't want to do it live, okay, you can do this, and the image sequence will create a very nice, facial capture transfer to your character. So I mean, if you have a video of yourself, even like a news video of a newscaster or something like that, face on towards the camera in good lighting, you can just load up an image sequence, okay, and you can then transfer that to your 3D character in iClone. You can see my little head up there. Hey. Okay. Anyways. Then you can, in this case, obviously we don't want to rotate the image because we're just kind of facing the camera. Face tracking model, we won't talk about this too much. It gets into a lot of technical detail, and Mike's tutorials talk a bit more about that. The settings for the camera, you can click settings here. I find the video resolution of 1280 by 720 is fairly good. Now, some of you may not have the high resources available on your computer. You may want to take a little bit of a lower resolution. I find that the MJPEG here is a fairly good results for myself. Okay, and you want to make sure that your video and image frames per second are set there as well. Normally they're 30 in this particular case. Okay, just a very few settings there for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this down, and there I am. Okay, so let's throw me over here a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit about the calibration here. Okay, so to get calibration going, I'm just going to throw up iClone here, and I put it over here so you can see both my face and Rihanna's face here. Okay, so calibrate neutral pose. A neutral pose is just like your passport photo. Just imagine like a passport photo. You know, they tell you don't smile in your passport photo. You know, look straight at the camera. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go like relatively about this distance from the webcam. Okay, you want to make sure that your face is predominant. And if you go up here to edit, you can enable grid display right here. Okay. And generally, you want your head to kind of fit in these. There we go. In these two, in this grid section of the grid here. Okay, like which way do my hands go? Right here. Okay. Generally, you want your head to fit in there for best results. Okay, and face the camera directly. Okay, see, I'm constantly looking down at the screen, so my eyeballs are kind of to the side there. But you want to get a calibrated neutral pose like this. So what I find is a good way to do this is close your mouth like this and put your lips together, like kind of almost press them together a bit more than you normally would. Like that, you can see that. And you also want to look directly at the camera as well with a neutral expression on your face. And I find that if I keep my eyes like wide open like this, it's not good. But if I have my eyes natural like this, it looks a little bit better. Okay. So let's go ahead and try that. I'm going to calibrate a neutral pose. Okay, and then you can see once I do that, through my lips off there, it says calibrated yes. Okay, we can try it again if we want. Okay, calibration. So I'm going to take that grid off. Okay, you can also enable optimization, but I'm just going to keep it like this. Okay, now how do you connect in iClone? Well, that's pretty easy. Just select your character and go up to plugins and motion live. Okay, now there's panel display settings that you can choose. You can hide the panel during the preview. You can hide during record. You can change the panel opacity if you want. This is all up to your personal preference. I just kind of keep it on because I'm just, yeah. why make it disappear? So let's go to plugins, motion live, and then you want to throw up your motion live here. Okay, now we're not going to be talking about body and hands, so I've kind of minimized those right now. But we are going to be talking about FaceWare real time and live face. So FaceWare live is the old version, so we don't need to worry about this. Okay, FaceWare real time is the new version that we use, and live face is going to be for iPhone, and I'll talk about that in just a moment here. Okay, so what we want to do is make sure you have FaceWare real time for iClone loaded up. Okay, make sure it's like you have it right now, and you can press this little green button on the side to connect it. Okay, and now it's connected. Okay, one actor currently selected. We'll talk about how to do multiple actors in just a moment here. And then what you want to do is down here is your character list. So you want to make sure that you choose, currently this character is just named female 2, and we're only using face. So you can see right here, it says none. There's kind of like an exclamation mark, like a warning thing. Just click there and choose FaceWare real time. Okay, so now what's happening is we have everything all set up. And I'm going to just put this over here, put my face up here so you can kind of see everything. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and preview. Move this up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so preview. Okay, so now what's happening now is you can see I'm now controlling this character's face. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Eyebrows. See, eyes open wide like this, and then closed. Okay, so, fairly good results. We get fairly nice and accurate representation of the character. And my eyes are a little bit messed up, but you can see the eyeball tracking from left to right. Okay, so it's very simple to set it up. You can see I just did it in just a moment here. And if you find something like, for example, the character's eyes aren't opening enough, or maybe the jaw isn't moving enough either, what you can do is you can actually change a lot of these options here as well. Okay, so change the strength of a lot of the facial features. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the preview by pressing the space key. Okay, and you can go over here to mapping. Okay. And there's two parts here. There's this tracking data inspector. Okay, so you can see it's mapping right now. All this data, all these little parameters here. You can see when I look at, for example, the eye left wide right here. Okay, when I move my eyes and eyebrows, mouth. Okay, so this is where you can just see all the data. And you can kind of, if you're really technical, I mean, you can go in here and just do whatever you want with those. Just get all that data and analyze it. But the way you adjust the strengths, before you do a recording or a preview, you can adjust the strengths by using the expression mapping panel right here. Okay, so this expression mapping panel allows you to kind of do there's different templates up here under control name. Okay, there's different templates. So say, for example, I wanted my character's jaw to be a little bit more open. Okay, I click that jaw open one, and you can see that jaw move Y will have more strength. Okay, now if I go to face, head, and eye, there's different values here as well. There's also custom ones that you can set up in a custom JSON file. We won't talk about that in too much detail. But let's take a look at the jaw one because it's kind of easy to demonstrate. So right now I set the jaw move Y to 110, and I'm going to close this down. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually move that up. So you can see the character's face. This is going to be the default position. Now you can adjust that jaw move, to something lower or something higher. Okay, so let's go ahead and give a value of like 60 and see what this does. We'll go ahead and close this down. Okay, and then we'll start previewing. Okay, you can see the mouth, the jaw, has a lot more strength for the movement. Okay, than it did before. You can also do the same thing with the eyebrows. Okay, we go up to the mapping panel. Let's do like a face and then brow raise, inner left, for example. Okay, but we need to reset here. Okay, so this is going to be the default face. And if we close that down, you can see the inner left brow was a lot higher than the other ones, okay? So just some, you know, really, I mean, they're not super useful unless you want to have a character with like kind of like a weird twitch on their face or something. We can just go press reset or 0 all and get them all back to normal here. Okay, and then close that down. So again, we're not going to worry too much about that, but those are just the values that you can adjust and change. Now, there's 3 other values here that are very important. There's blend data on next recording here, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Blend data on next recording is, say, for example, you do a recording and you're not happy with the way maybe you just want to add something onto it. So like maybe you record the face, but you want to add some different eyeball movement. Let's go ahead and test this out we'll test this out a little bit later, actually. Before we do this, I want to show you how to connect the iPhone, and then we'll move back to FaceWare for iClone. Okay, so let's just close everything down for now. Okay, we're going to close down FaceWare real time for iClone. And what I want to do now, is I'm going to go back to my desktop here, and I'm going to mirror my iPhone. So I'm going to be holding my iPhone in my hand here. Okay, so apologies, and hopefully nobody messages me. I forgot to turn off my alerts on my phone here. So I'm just going to go to Xmirage here. Okay, I guess we already had it running. Okay, so Xmirage is a program that allows you to mirror anything from your iPhone to the computer. So this is why you can't obviously see my iPhone, but I'm going to mirror my screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, I need to go to my iPhone here. So in my iPhone right now, what I'm doing is I'm going to mirror. Okay, so screen mirroring. Yep. Okay, so it says it's mirroring. Oh, there we go. All right, we got it working. So you just got to go to your screen mirroring feature in your iPhone 10. It's under the main top settings there, and you're going to be able to see all the stuff in my phone. All right, so there's a live face app you can see on the right here. Okay, so this is the app, and there's my face. Okay, so you get a nice big close-up of my face. Now, right now, I'm not using a USB connection. I'm using the Wi-Fi connection. So in some cases, depending on your connection, you may experience some lag. What I do recommend is using a connecting with a cord. Okay, connecting with your cord. And you'll see the lighting here is a bit brighter in the iPhone as well. I'm going to tap the screen for a wireframe. Okay, you can see we have this is the live face. Now notice there's an IP address up here. Okay, this is an IP address. And what we need to do to connect our live face to our character in iClone, let's go ahead and do that right now. And let's move the live face maybe over here for now. Okay, and let's get that wireframe off my face there. There we go. Okay, so we can go up to plugins again, same thing, Motion Live and Motion Live. But now, instead of connecting with the FaceWare real time, I want to go down here and connect to live face. Now, if I try to connect right now, if I press connect, it's going to have an error. Okay, failed to connect to live face. And that's because we need to have the correct IP address in here. Okay, so what we need to do is put that in properly. Okay, so get our other numbers out of there. And it's 192.168.1.66. And just leave all those 9s there, and then just try and connect it now. Now you can see connection succeeded. Okay, I'm looking over to the side here because I'm trying to look at my phone and the what's going on at the same time. And then down here, you go to a female character and just select FaceWare or live face. Okay, instead of the other one. Now what you want to do here, you want to set 0 pose. So set 0 pose is the same thing as like setting the calibration pose in FaceWare. Oh, low battery. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and do that. And again, just look at your phone directly and have a neutral expression. And that's the 0 pose. Okay, so let's just bring this over here. and then we'll preview it. There we go. Okay, so now we have control over the face. And the one advantage I find with the iPhone 10 is that it has a bit, it uses depth sensor, okay? So if I go like, for example, you can see my character's lips and cheeks go out a bit more, okay? And basically the same stuff. You can tilt your head from side to side as well. Okay, just like this. And there you go. So that's how you can connect to the iPhone if you use Live Face. Now, again, I recommend using a cable to do this connection, okay? Because then you don't have to worry about the IP and all that stuff and the wireless from your phone to your computer. But that's basically it, okay, for the Live Face. What I'll do is I'll just close this down right now. And we'll just disconnect Live Face. So stop the preview. Okay, we're going to use FaceWare for the rest of this this webinar. I'll just get it on my phone here. Rightio. Okay, so let's talk now about, we're going to talk about the recording and the editing. All right, so let's load up, let's close down Xmirage here. And let's go back to real time for iClone. So I'm going to talk about how to just record to a couple of, oops, there we are. Okay, let's throw this over here, it was before, and calibrate neutral pose again. Okay, good. So then we can connect iClone. I'm going to load in a different project here. You don't need to save this one. And connecting to two separate characters, I'm just going to show you really quickly. It's pretty simple. And then we're going to get into the recording and editing for the last half of this webinar here. Okay, so I have two characters on the screen right now. What I can do, let's do the same thing. Plugins, motion live, and let's connect to FaceWare real time. And now we have the option for character 1 and character 2. So we can choose FaceWare real time. And we could choose live face for the other one, but I'm going to just keep them both on FaceWare real time, just so we have the same data for both characters. Let's just move this over a bit. Okay, and now if I preview, make sure we're in the right position here. Looks like I need to recalibrate. You can see the right eye and the lips seem to be really messed up. So that requires a recalibration. So go down up here, calibrate face again. Let's try and preview again. There we go, much better. So if you see something like that, then just recalibrate. Wow. Okay. A lot of fun just to kind of test these things out. Okay, so that's how you can control two characters. Just set them to the same thing, and you can do simultaneous capture with different devices as well. So you can throw in as many devices as you want here. You can throw in the live face. You can throw in the FaceWare, Perception Neuron, and Rococo. If you have a lot of money, you can just buy them all. Why not, right? Okay, so this is controlling two characters at once with the FaceWare real time for iClone. Okay, let's stop the preview right there. And let's load in that other project again here, and we're going to talk about recording and editing, okay? I like the looks of this character. Okay, load up there, buddy. All right, so once this loads up, we'll talk about the recording and editing, which is all the fun stuff, okay? All right, there we are, same character, and plugins, motion live, and we need to connect the face for real time, and connect our face to face for real time. Okay, and preview just to make sure. Okay, good enough for me. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and recalibrate one more time. Okay, let's get ready to record. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to record something really quickly, and then we're going to do some editing on it. Okay, so to record, the only difference is instead of preview, you press record. Okay, and we'll talk about blend data on next recording as well. Okay, so I'm just going to record something really quickly, like a friendly greeting. Okay, go ahead and press record, and then press space. Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar on live face and FaceWare for iClone and Motion Live plugin. Okay, and press space when you're done. So then we have it all recorded. Okay, you can go through your timeline. You can see just some very natural looking, speech, and everything's good to go. Now, one thing we forgot to do here is we forgot to record audio for the Visine track. So if I play this back, okay, if I close down my Motion Live panel and I want to play this back, what's going to happen? You're not going to hear any audio. Okay, so we're going to have to do that one more time. I can probably think of something more exciting to say. I'm going to just right-click on the character, remove object animation. And another thing you can do here is go up to make sure we have our modify tools here. I'm just going to go to face puppet here, or not face puppet, whoops, face key and default key. Okay, when you go to face key over here in default key, it'll reset your character's face to the default position. Okay, very important to do this when you're restarting your capture. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. Okay, so let's give this a shot one more time. Close down our modify panel there, and make sure we're in the plugins and face to real time, all connected. I just want to calibrate one more time here. Okay, and preview. Wow. Okay, good. So let's go ahead and record. Hey everyone, welcome to our webinar on live face, Motion Live, and FaceWare. I'm going to explain to you how to edit. I'm not very good at improv. Let's just go ahead and do that one more time here. Let's use something simple. Okay, I'm going to right click or just go ahead and record over that. Hey everyone, welcome to our webinar on Motion Live plugin for iClone 7. Okay, good enough. So, oh, we forgot to record the audio again. Let's just do this one more time. Record audio for Visine Track. Okay, and there's my microphone. I'm focusing on too many other things right now. So again, generally what you'll want to do is, remove the object animation just to make things better. Go to your modify panel, the face key, and default key. All right, good. Let's get started here. Plugins, Motion Live. There we go. All right, connect everything. Good. Okay. Let's try and give ourselves a nice simple introduction here. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone. Okay, so a very simple one. And let's close down Motion Live now. Okay, since we're not going to do any more capture at this point, I'll show you how to blend two captures together in just a bit here. And we'll just maximize this. We don't use see my face for now. So if you go to your timeline, you can use this button down here, press F3. Your timeline is going to open up. What you want to do to modify or edit any of the facial capture is you want to go into your female 2, which is the character, and you want to open up the Visine track and the expression track. Okay, the other ones we don't need to worry about right now. Okay, we'll just close those down. We're only going to worry about the Visine and expression tracks. Under Visine, what you'll see is let's go to the beginning here. Don't tell me I forgot to record the audio. Looks like I'm gonna have to do this one more time. Record audio for Visine Track. Okay, so it should be recording my audio. Not sure why I didn't. Give that one more shot here. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar for Motion Live plugin for iClone. Okay. Now that should, produce an audio track here. If it doesn't, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and improvise something. We're going to just use I'm going to close this down. And I'm going to improvise and throw a script there, okay? So for script, I'm going to go to Motion Live, or not Motion Live, rather, Window, Modify, and we're going to just go ahead and create a script. Now this script is going to be a female audio voice, okay? So let's go ahead and create script. It'll be the same thing as basically recording my own voice, okay? So what I'm going to do here, actually, if you're doing this, here's a better way to do it. I can kill two birds with one stone here. So that's going to create an expression clip, okay? Everything I did is going to create an expression clip, okay? And you can see my eye movement and mouth movement and everything like that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and delete all that, go back to default here, and I'm going to only record my eyes and mouth, or my eyes and nose and eyebrows and that stuff. We're going to mask out the mouth, okay? So here's a good example of something you can do if you don't want to use your own live, mouth for talking. You want to use an audio file that you have or a script that you prepared previously. This scenario is fairly common, okay? Because not all of us are the best voice actors, and God knows I certainly don't sound like this woman looks. So let's go to plugins one more time, okay? So we'll go to FaceWare again, FaceWare real time. And what I'm going to do now is down here in the bottom, we have the masking, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the face and the chin, and we're going to mask out my mouth and my chin here, okay? Now if I preview, you can see no matter what I do, when I open my mouth, it's not following my mouth, okay? So it's basically like, she can't talk. We're going to give her words in just a moment, okay? So we're just going to use the eyes. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's record something really quick. Let's record some facial expression. Just really quickly. Okay, so again, we record that expression right here. And let's go ahead and close this down now. And we're going to throw a script in there. Okay, so go back to frame 1, and let's throw a script in there. So create script. I'm going to use just a text-to-speech. We can record my voice as well if we want. I'm going to use a text-to-speech in this case since it sounds more female. Say, hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7. Okay, and let's just go ahead and work with that. Okay, so this is what should happen. Okay, it should produce this. Okay, so now you should be able to hear this.
Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Plugin. Okay, now I notice here that there's a little bit of an issue with her eyes. So my own eyes were not really the best. Okay,
7.
So she ends off right here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to right-click on the expression track and break it. I'm going to right-click on the Visine track and break it, okay, at the same frame. And I'm just going to delete all the extra stuff that we don't need, okay? So now we just have this. Okay.
Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Okay. Now there's a couple things that we can do at the very beginning of this. If you think that her eyes are too shut a little bit, we can modify it using the face key editor, okay? So the face key editor is good for adjusting, muscles on the face post capture. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all the her eyebrows right here, or not the eyebrows, rather the eyelids. And at frame 1, I'm going to click and drag and bring those a little bit up, okay? So you can see at the very beginning, I can click and drag and bring those up like this, okay? So her eyes are a bit more open. Now you got to be careful with this because if you do this at frame 1,
hi everyone,
it's going to be for the entire clip, okay? So if you go under expressions right here, this is under the muscle track, okay? So the muscle track, you can see we have keyframe at frame 1 here, and it persists for the entire rest of the clip here. Okay, so all the face key stuff is stored in this muscle track. All right, just keep that in mind under the expression clip. So maybe right here, you know, her eyes are getting a little too big. So what I can do is at this frame, I'll go ahead and just press default key, and that's going to set it back to normal. Okay, so from here to here, we're going to have her. I'm going to just right click this and copy it, maybe paste it over here. So from here to here, we'll have her eyes, you know, we fixed that eye issue right there. And back here, it's normal again.
Welcome to our web.
Maybe right here, we'll see her right eye is a little bit too close. Okay, so let's go ahead and double click in the muscle track there to add a keyframe. And then maybe about here, we'll take that right eye and open it up a little bit. Okay, just like that. So now from here to here. Okay, and then here, her left eye begins to close. Okay, so maybe right here we can press a default key. Okay, and copy and paste this keyframe for the duration, just like this. Okay, and then here, the left eye begins to close. We'll take the left eye and bring it up. So this is just, you know, kind of a simple process of, you know, cleaning up your capture after the capture. Now, ideally, you wouldn't have to do this, but you know, there's many different ways you can modify and refine your capture. Default key here again, and we'll go from there. Okay, and just default key and right eye out. Okay, so that's how I would generally. I did like a really quick and dirty job of it, but you know, that's how you can use different muscles and modify different muscles on your character. And if you wanted at any point to bring one eyebrow up or bring the other eyebrow up, like this, for example, you can bring the inner part of the eyebrow up like that, and use, you know, separate keyframes for all that stuff. That's how you can, you know, refine your capture using the face key editor. There's various other things you can do here as well. We're not going to worry about that. I'm going to focus now on the Visine here, okay? So when we create the script, okay, what's going to happen is you're going to get a Visine track right here, okay? This Visine track. So we're not going to focus on expression anymore. We'll just close that down. That's for the muscle editing. So right here, if we play back.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Okay, so I think right now the capture is a little bit too like jittery for me. It's a little bit too fast. So if I play back, I'm not sure if the speed of this is coming through on the broadcast here.
Hi everyone.
Especially this part right here.
Hi everyone.
Like that doesn't really look natural.
Hi everyone.
It's a little too fast for me. So what you can do on your capture is you can right click on the Visine track here, and you can reduce lip keys, or you can select lip options here. Reducing lip keys will often kind of smooth it out. Okay, if I reduce lip keys.
Hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
You see that it's not too bad. It's a lot better. It's not as quick and machine gun like as the previous one, but I think we're kind of missing a little bit of a few things as well. So I'm going to Control Z and undo that. Okay, and it should restore our. Just need to do it twice. Okay, that should restore our original here. And instead of reducing lip keys, which are these keyframes down here, what I'm going to do is right click and go to lip options. Now in lip options, we have the option to adjust for different parts of the mouth. Okay, so we can go to parts and we can smooth out the lips, tongue, and jaw. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth out the lips to 5 and the jaw to 5. Actually, let's do the full mouth here. We're going to smooth everything out in the mouth and go ahead and apply this. Okay, and what this is going to do.
Hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Okay. It makes it look a lot better than it did before. Okay, because it just kind of smoothed out those, you know, it wasn't as machine gun like. It smoothed out the lip movement. So this is one way that you can, you know, really smooth out as well.
Hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Okay. And if you want to emphasize things, for example, you can use these Visine keyframes below that. So Let's see which part should we emphasize here.
Hi everyone.
So maybe
Everyone.
we have a 1 here, okay? So if we go into our lips track right here, you can see we have all these different keyframes. And these are all keyframes that create lip shapes, okay, for lip syncing. So here she says, okay? We have this woo keyframe here. If we double click it, you can see it's this woo keyframe, okay? So these are different facial, or rather, mouth shapes, okay? So we can have we can have e, we can have all these other ones here, okay? And we have woo. Now we can take this expression strength down of the woo if we want, okay? We can increase that expression strength, okay? That's just various ways that you can adjust all these. Okay, so we have a 1, okay? So right here, we should probably have an N, okay? So what we can do is just press this, click this one here, and that adds a keyframe for the N, okay? Or you can add the NG one as well, okay? So, okay. So that's, basic ways that you can modify all the Visine shapes on your characters, on your capture. You can modify the expressions, you can clean them up. You can do various other things as well here. Let's try and blend. Let's go back to our plugin. Let's try and blend in some eye movement here, okay? So let's have her kind of look, her eyeballs look from side to side, okay? So I'm going to show you the blend on next recording feature. So we're going to go to plugins, Motion Live again, Motion Live, FaceWare real time. Okay, so we're going to do the same capture, except for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and press this clear button here. We're going to clear everything except for the eyeballs, okay? Except for the eyeballs. And we need to select blend data on next recording. If we don't select blend data on next recording, what's going to happen is it's just going to erase all the previous capture that we had, okay? So if I go ahead and do this, if I preview.
Hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone.
Let's go ahead and make sure that I'm in the right position here. We need to recalibrate really quick. Okay. And let's go ahead and try that one more time. So pay attention to my eyeballs in this one here. Let's close the modify panel. I'll try and keep my eyes open as much as I can. See, the problem with me is I have really deep inset eyes. So it's kind of a little bit more difficult to capture my eyes. Okay, so let's blend data on next recording, only using the eyeballs. Let's preview.
Hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Okay, so you should see my eyeballs moving there. I couldn't see because I'm not looking at the screen. But let's go ahead and try and record that. It may look a little bit weird, but I just wanted to show you the blend data on next recording. Okay, so if you want to add things in, you can do that. All right, so let's blend data on next recording. Let's actually just do the eyeballs for now, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and press record. Okay, make sure my eyes are showing like this.
Hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Okay. Again, I'm not looking at it, so I don't have no idea how that turned out. It should be looking from side to side.
Hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Okay, so at some points it looks like maybe my eyeballs were a bit too high into my head there, but you kind of got the point where you can actually blend data on next recording with your previous recording. Okay, and maybe my eyebrows are moving a little bit too much. So if I want to reduce the eyebrow movement or kind of bring the eyebrows down a little bit, I can do this.
Hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin.
Make sure that they are selected.
Hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Okay, so let's try and blend this data on next recording. Let's go to our strength slider here. Let's increase the strength of our brows, okay? So you can also use the strength here to increase, the values of each individual facial feature as well. Again, just bring the mouth up to like whatever it is. Okay, and mask, just make sure the eyeballs, take out the eyeballs this time. Okay, only the eyebrows. So if we record from the beginning.
Hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Okay, so I purposely kept my eyebrows down the entire time. So it's going to blend the data. So now you can see.
Hi everyone.
Okay, we don't have as much, the eyebrows aren't as high and bouncy as they were before, okay? So I blended the eyebrow data in, I blended the eyeball capture in there as well. And again, we'll just close that down, and you can modify these all using the motion key editor.
Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Okay. And you know, the eyeball kind of really bothers me here. So right here, for example, what I would do is I would go ahead and use the motion key editor. This is one final modification I'm going to make, and then we're going to go on to the Q&A section here. Okay. Any questions? Make sure you get those questions in right now. Let's just select solo features here and go a little bit further in. I'm going to select the default key here. Okay. Here. It looks weird because my character almost looks annoyed. She doesn't look like she's happy. So I'll take these, eyeballs and bring them to face the front. Okay, like this. And I'll also take those eyelids, bring them up like this. It looks like my one eye is a little bit further to the right than my other one. Let's just refocus those, and let's bring the eyebrows up all together. Oops. There we go. Okay. And again, all this stuff that I'm modifying right now is in the expression track, okay? Not the Visine track. So you can see 2 keyframes right here. And actually what I'll do is I'm going to just go ahead and close this down for now. And let's maximize our window. Okay, so from here to here, this is the result that I want right here. Okay, and I can just copy both of those keyframes for the eyeball and the muscle. Right click, copy, and I can paste them over here. Okay, so it'll look a little bit better. And then maybe, okay, here it's a little bit too strong, so I can actually just copy and paste those original keyframes. And control and select both of them. Right click, copy, and here I think the eyeballs are too big, so control or right click and paste, and these ones I'll probably copy and paste a little bit further down as well. Okay, except for the point here where she seems a little bit too distraught or whatever. So I'll just take these and put them back here, and take these and move them a little bit forward. Okay, so here we'll be fixing that. Okay, so now she doesn't look as angry. Now she looks like she's her eyeballs are facing forward, and her eyebrows are at a more friendly level. Okay, so that's really all I want to show you guys about the capture, the blending 2 captures together, and refining those captures, refining the Visine and everything like that. Lots of stuff you can do. I mean, you can spend like hours and hours and hours. I sometimes lose myself getting really focused on fixing every little part of the character's face. But again, it's a lot of fun, and the tools are very comprehensive and powerful to just allow you to get the best capture possible, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's get to the Q&A section now. Since we're about out of time here, we already have a few questions here up in the Q&A section. All right, so first question from Oleg here. I noticed that when frames per second in video is less than 30, it's very significant. Okay, so Oleg, basically, I think the question is, how can you limit your frames per second so that that it doesn't jump? Okay, so good question. If you want to limit your frames per second in FaceWare real time, again, there's right now, the only way you can do that is you can go into your settings and change your frames per second. But again, at this resolution, you only have the 30 frames per second. Sometimes you can go down to like 640 by 360. Okay, this MJPEG one. There's one here that allows you to should allow the frames per second to go down. I think you may have to restart because there's some that allow you to change the video frames per second to a lower number there. Gosh, yeah, I might have to restart FaceWare real time. Let's try and give it a shot because I know for sure you can do it. It's just a matter of kind of messing around with those settings to kind of get the result that you want. Oh, there's a thing with my Starbucks. Okay, so edit, settings. Okay, and it should allow you to select a lower frames per second. I'm not sure why it's not. I'll have to get back to you on that one. Seems to be some weird stuff happening here. Might be my like literally just a couple minutes ago I was able to do this. Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that one. Maybe just email me as well if you have a question of something that's not working here. Just email me. My email is kai@reallusion.com. That's kai@reallusion.com. Okay. Sorry about that, Oleg. That's one way you should be able to do it. Maybe it's because of the link in iClone as well. If you go to your project settings here, let me just get this stuff out of the way here. You should be able to also adjust your, or sorry, not project settings, preferences. There should be an option here as well. Max texture size. Oh, this is actually just in the rendering. Never mind. I know for a fact it's somewhere in here. Okay, I'll have to get back to that one. Sorry about that. It's been a while since I've tried to find that particular setting. Hopefully we'll get to it later. If anyone has the solution there, feel free to speak up at any point. Okay, I'm just going to go on to the next one for now, though. Kirill says, I have all the licenses for iPhone, iPhone Live Face Record Animation, but I cannot connect to my IP address on PC. How should this work? Kirill, for this one, check out the help files for Motion Live. Highly recommended. Go to Motion Live and you can select help here. And there is a, just search for like Live Face. Okay, and should pop up here. Connecting to Live Face, there you go. Okay, so there's a way to do it with a cable or with a 3G or 4G connection here. And just go through this page right here, and this should be able to resolve your issue if you follow this. And if you still don't have, if you're still having problems with this, please get in touch with our customer support because there may be some sort of technical issue involved there that may not be solvable at this time. But definitely check out this page here. Okay, just search Live Face in the Motion Live panel. You should be able to get it. Okay, so Oleg, another question from Oleg. Is it possible to record facial expressions of several people in live mode at once? That is with the help of one program, 2 or 3 people at once. Yes. So you're definitely able to record more than one person at once. So if I had somebody beside me, I could record my face with FaceWare and their face with my iPhone at the same time. Okay, and we could stream that data to 2 separate characters on our stage. Okay, and there's really no limit to how many characters you can have or how many captures you can have. All right. So John has a question here. I noticed you adjusted the eyebrow within the jaw control name instead of the eyebrow control name. Does it make a difference which control name you make the adjustment for? No, it really doesn't, John. Those are just presets that you choose. John's, of course, talking about the Live Face presets. Let's go back in here really quick. John was talking about the mapping. Okay, so expression mapping panel. And again, these presets are just here, for your convenience. So, okay. Move this to the side. Let's see our character better. Okay, so if I go to jaw left, for example, or have some more mouth up. Again, we can combine mouth up with brow raise inner left. Okay, so if we wanted our character's natural expression to look like this, looks really smug, then we would do that, and we can just go ahead and save it. Okay, you just save it. And once you save, then that's going to be, your natural resting face. She's going to have a very smug resting face if you were to do this. Okay, I'm not going to save it for now though. Okay, yeah, that doesn't really matter. The control name is just a preset for you to use. Okay. So Oleg asks a good question that I never hear the end of here is, which is better, live face or FaceWare? And I always answer this by saying, you know, in terms of cost, I mean, if you already have the iPhone 10, then I would, you know, kind of push you a bit more towards the live face, because the FaceWare is by itself, I believe, is something like 1,500 or something like that. I'm not even sure what's that right now. Yeah, so FaceWare is at 1,590. Okay, but you can see that the iPhone live face right now is only $299. So if you already have an iPhone 10, I mean, you can see where you're going to save some bucks there. But again, I find that iPhone is also better for lower light conditions. So the iPhone is a bit more forgiving for light conditions, whereas I find FaceWare tends to have a bit of a smoother capture sometimes, but I've used both and with great success. iPhone also uses depth sensor technology. So if you're using plosives, like where you blow your lips out a bit more, like a baboon or something like that, iPhone is a bit better at capturing that. FaceWare simply tracks the outlines of your features at this point. Okay, but it's still good. FaceWare is very reliable. It's been used for quite a while in the game development industry for, you know, various AAA video games. So again, FaceWare are very reliable, and yeah, it really depends on your financial situation and the hardware you already have when it comes down to it. I find that both have very reasonable capture quality. Okay, so Luciano says, I've noticed my character is shaking really fast after calibrating and connecting. I'm not sure if this is something to do with the wrong calibration, Wi-Fi speed, or my laptop resolution. Shaking on your capture with FaceWare, I don't think I've experienced that too much. What I would recommend is just ensuring that your light situation is the best, because sometimes if FaceWare is losing track of your facial features, it'll kind of shake a little bit to try as it tries to recover, you know, the position of that facial feature. So for example, if it loses the capture position of your eye, it'll just kind of randomly guess where that eye is. So, I mean, I'd take a look at that. That would be my first idea as to why that might not be working. But again, without actually being there and without actually, it's kind of a trial and error thing. There could be a number of different reasons for that. It's kind of hard to pinpoint just by reading this question here what that might be. But generally, when I've had that issue in the past, it's been that my lighting hasn't been ideal, and FaceWare has lost track of my eye, for example, or something like that, and it jitters to try to recover that as it tries to recover that position. But again, I wanted to mention here as well, one thing you can do if you do find a jitter, like say for example, you know, there's a jitter in your recording. So let's just say from frame, I'm going to close this down for now. Let's go into edit mode. So from frame 134 to frame 142, there was a jitter. Okay, what you can do here is you can just get your expression clip here. You can right click on your expression clip and you can break it, and then right click over here and break it again, and then just delete that. Say for example, the center part is where the jitter is. Let's just hypothetically we can just delete that jitter, and we can blend these two together. So by clicking this little transition area here, we can click and drag it, and it'll be a nice transition. Okay. So by doing that, we could get rid of the jitter, right? Just by kind of cutting it out and blending the expression clips together. And that would be the ideal way to, if you do find a jitter or whatever in your recording, that would be the ideal way to take care of that. But in terms of the calibration, that's all I can really say at this point, Luciano. Sorry, I can't really give you a specific answer, but it's yeah, takes a bit more trial and error. I have to actually be there in person or over Skype or something to kind of make sure that we know what the situation is. Troubleshoot, that's the word. Okay, so John asks, can you use two webcams to control two characters talking to each other? Yes, technically you could with FaceWare. You know, I would, yeah, you could do it with FaceWare. I mean, you have the option to choose when you open FaceWare for real time or FaceWare real time for iClone. You have the option to choose which camera you're going to be using. Now, at the same time, that is a different scenario. As far as I know, you can't open two copies of FaceWare real time simultaneously. So what you would have to do is you would, yeah, unfortunately, two webcams, I guess in that case, it probably wouldn't work. I've never tried to use two webcams. I've always just used, for two characters talking to each other, I've used Live Face and FaceWare. But as far as I know, FaceWare doesn't have the option for, yeah, you can't open two copies. I don't believe here. Let's see what happens if we try. Oh, so yeah, we'll get this error right here. Okay, so I guess that won't work, unfortunately, John. But I mean, if you have two laptops right beside each other, you could put two characters on laptops and have a conversation with them, and then you can export that animation to you know, to your other character. I guess I kind of didn't really show you guys how to save animations. If you want to save an animation and export it to another character, what you can do is just open your collect clip track here under your character. Okay, and you can left click and drag for the duration of your animation, and then just right click on that little blue area there and select Add Motion Plus to Library. Okay, now make sure you select Motion Plus, because Motion Plus is body and facial animation. Okay, not just motion. Motion will only capture the body. Motion Plus will have the body and the face. Okay, in this case, it's just the face. You right click that. You have the option here to choose the body motion. We don't need the body motion. We don't really need, I just generally keep all these the same. That's what I would do, and press OK. And then it'll ask where you want to save it. I'll just save it to my desktop here. We'll call it Testeruni, because I probably already have a test there. I frequently add test files to my desktop, and then you can throw that on. So if we remove object animation from our character, let's find Testeruni there, and just drag it onto our character. Oh, there we go.
Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Okay, and that's how you save and reapply it. Okay, let's go back to the questions here. Yeah, sorry about that, John. I guess you can't do the same thing. Okay, so Kirill got the solution there. Oleg asks, are you working on a project or a game? Currently, I am not working on anything. I'm consulting on a project, but not working on it myself. And it's just kind of a corporate training program for injury responses, for sports injuries and stuff like that. And we do often use the Motion Live plugin for this, especially for, you know, sports motions like soccer or basketball or something like that. I mean, you can find them online. You can pay for them, or if you have, you know, your own suit, you can capture them. And it's especially useful for just casual conversation between two people. Using the live face, I use it all the time with the iPhone, and you know, going from there. Really beats doing frame by frame, keyframe animation. Even if your raw capture isn't very good, like mine was pretty crappy, you can, you know, modify it and fix it, you know, within like half an hour. Whereas if you were doing the frame by frame animation, you know, it'd be a lot longer. Okay, so Kirill asks, how would you export the facial animation to FBX? The way that you would do that is in that same collect clip track, if I right click, there's also an option to add it to 3D Exchange. Okay, so add Motion Plus to 3D Exchange. So when you do that, what's going to happen is going to load up 3D Exchange, which is the conversion software. And this allows you to convert FBX file, or sorry, iClone files, Motion Plus files into FBX format.
Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar on the Motion Live plugin for iClone 7.
Okay, so what you do here is you can see, oh, not too far. It just gives you a default mesh to use, okay? And you can see right here. Just play it back.
Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar on the Motion
So
Live
plugin. Export this to FBX. You can use this little tool up here, export FBX. And you want to make sure that you set a target tool preset, whichever program you're exporting to, Unity, Unreal, Maya, Motion Builder, 3ds Max. Okay, let's say for 3ds Max, for example, and then you just go ahead and export that and press OK. Okay, and let's just really quickly export it to the desktop here and show you. Okay, it was called G5 Motion Bone, whatever. You don't need to include the geometry. Okay, we don't need the mesh. Okay, we'll just need to, all this should be okay. Okay, and let's press, oops. We need to choose a target tool preset here. Don't need to include geometry. Did I use max? Yeah, I maxed, okay. And then just press okay. I guess there's no option to not include the geometry. So there's your FBX exported, and then here it is, G5 Motion Bone. You'd export that into to Max, okay, or Maya, whatever you're using. Okie dokes. Where's my? There we go. Lucianos has a general question: is iClone 8 in the works? Yeah, I can say something like iClone 8 is in the works. As to release date, I really can't speculate on that right now. We just launched Cartoon Animator 4 in April there. So we're still, I don't know. At some point, I can't really give any speculative answers here for when iClone 8 will come out, but not in the near future. Okay, we're still, right now we're focusing a lot of our efforts on the Motion Live, right? So that's what we're working on right now is Motion Live stuff. Just trying to get compatible with as many devices as we can. So there's a lot more devices to come in the near future here. Okay, so John asks, how does enable optimization work for FaceWare real time? You mean right here, this one here, enable optimization. This one, again, mixed results. I haven't really used it too much myself. Let's get myself recalibrated here. There we go. What it does is maybe just smooths out the capture a little bit. In terms of that, I haven't really used it much myself, like I mentioned here. But I find that when you optimize it, you do get a bit of a smoother result in my experience. Let me just make sure yeah, I'm gonna put this at 1280 by 720 there. Okay, and static cam. Oh, by the way, I probably should be using static cam instead of head cam here. A static cam is the static camera. I could have been, creating some less than ideal results. Head cam is when you have the head camera mounted on your head. So if you're doing body capture as well, obviously you can't really have you can't be sitting at your laptop when you're doing body capture unless your motion is sitting on your laptop. But when you're sitting on your laptop, you want to use static cam here, okay? And this is a bit of a better option for this. So we'll close that down. Okay, and then we need to recalibrate again. I think I've been messing around with the settings too much here. I'll have to probably just exit and come back in again here. But to answer your question there, John, optimization for FaceWare real time, it kind of smooths things out. And I think there's a section in the help file for that as well. Yeah, here we go. So search like optimization. Yeah, so it says here the option modifies the image to be easier for the technology to track. Okay, so that's basically what it does there. Again, it's kind of like a non-answer a little bit, but that's the official application of it. This one here. Okay. In my experience, it just makes it a bit of a smoother capture. So if you find that maybe that will help Luciano for your situation, that you can try and do that if you're getting too much jittery results. That could be a solution for you there. Okay, so Rodney asks, what advantage will FaceWare real-time version give going forward rather than the iPhone profile? Yeah, so I think this is a really good question that a lot of people, on a limited budget, have the eternal iPhone 10 versus FaceWare debate. Personally, I had to buy an iPhone. I've never used an iPhone in my life up until this live face came out. But I had to buy an iPhone because I've been demoing this all over the place. So I did have to pick that up. But I find the iPhone version works amazing. If you do have an iPhone 10, it has to be an iPhone 10, by the way. If you do have the iPhone 10 already, I mean, it's like $300 compared to $1,500. What can I say? If you are at school, you have the option for an academic discount. But I would say that the capture with the iPhone is equal to the FaceWare capture if you already have the iPhone available. I mean, but don't go out and buy an iPhone just for this, because it's upwards of $1,000 these days, right? Maybe even over $1,000. At least up here in Canada, where you get a 70%, well, 30% more than the US dollar. We pay 30% more. Okay, so Christopher here mentions, will the profile for cartoon animator webcam eventually work with iClone? Well, the profile for cartoon animator is actually no longer free. We have the plugin now, which is this one right here, the Face 3D Tracker, and this is I think it's $199 or something. Okay, so this is basically the same technology for Cartoon Animator 4. This is the same technology as the live face in iClone. So it's just utilizing that built-in technology into the iPhone 10 for depth camera. I'm not sure if any of you guys send animojis to your friends or whatnot. I'm a bit too old for that, but that's the technology it uses. Just kind of it's the same program, same application, just for two separate programs, iClone and Cartoon Animator. I don't need to be Exchange here anymore. Yeah, so going forward, that iPhone 10 face capture for Cartoon Animator 3 or Cartoon Animator 4 rather has been drastically improved since our last version, and they do charge for it now. Jenny asks, can we save recordings on the free trial, or does it delete when the time comes out? You can save recordings on the free trial, no problem, but you won't be able to export them to, like I did, to 3D Exchange, for example. But you can definitely save the recordings. And I believe right now the trial is 30 days. Okay, question here from Sam. When I'm using FaceWare, occasionally, even if I'm centered, it kind of drops the feature of the character I'm working on, so it kind of looks like their faces are melting. Is it something to do with my default settings? This happens often, Sam, and the only solution for that I find is to do a recalibration. Even sometimes just exiting real time for iClone and restarting it, I found works in certain situations. But again, if you've been using it for a while, like, well, it looks like my face is still fairly accurately tracked. Okay, it's maybe because I have enable optimization on, but start tracking my facial features quite accurately. But if I okay, there you go. Now how do I get my eyes back? Okay, it popped back in. But if it doesn't, sometimes you have to restart and go from there. Yeah, so and try not to move your head too much. Again, you can tilt, you can go like this, up and down, but if I go too far, there. It gets up to that point, but then I'm trying to make it go away. Okay. Anyways, you get the point, but just don't use extreme angles for your character and you should be fine. Okay, so Daniel mentions here the frame rate for recording is usually related to the camera hardware. Most of the time, if a particular frame rate is not there, because it may not be available. Oh, that's possibilities. So Daniel mentions here about the frame rate, and I think he's probably right. I was talking about the frame rate. So for my particular webcam, it doesn't give me an option for 10 frames per second, whereas on a different computer I was using earlier, it does have the option for 10 frames per second. So I think the video frames per second will depend entirely on your webcam. Okay, so yeah, there you go. That makes a lot more sense. Thank you for that, Daniel. I think that's, yeah, it really depends on your webcam hardware. That's really the only logical explanation here. Because I also was using a different computer a little while ago. And we did have a different option for different frames per second, but this one may be a little bit different. Okay, this one I'm using right now is an MSI laptop, which I'm a huge MSI fan. I've been using them for ages. Okay. Okay, so Steve asks, if I only get Motion Live, what can it do? I know I won't be able to get the other stuff for a while. Motion Live by itself, I mean, unfortunately, that's just a plugin. The cheapest gear profile we have is for Leap Motion for the hand capture. And I think that's like 99 bucks or something like that. But that'll be the cheapest option. Motion Live by itself won't give you any advantage. You won't be able to capture anything, and you have to at least have one gear profile. So apologies for that. You can get a trial of the gear profile, any gear profile you want. You can get a 30-day trial, and you can get a 30-day trial and test it out, you know, and you know, save the pennies while you're testing it out, and see what you like. All the profiles are free. All the trials are free, rather. So Toby asks, so just that I understand, you have to get Motion Live as well as Live Face and FaceWare. You don't have to get both Live Face and FaceWare. You can choose which one you want. Some people have both. Again, on the purchase page here, you can see that the price for them. Okay. So if you get if you purchase the Motion Live Live Face profile for iClone, you'll get the free one for Cartoon Animator here as well. So I forgot to mention that. So you get the profile for Cartoon Animator free, okay, as a bonus. So right now, I'd honestly say this is a good deal. This is a fantastic deal if you already have an iPhone 10. If you ask me personally, if I had an iPhone 10 and I was considering this, I'd go for the iPhone 10 just because, I mean, you get that price. Significant difference compared to this one. But if you're like rich Uncle Scrooge and you don't mind, then you got FaceWare options better as well. And there is academic discounts for all these as well, in case you know, some of you work with schools. You can contact me directly about that as well. Okay, someone says if I was a girl, I would marry you. Oh, awesome. Anonymous attendee, thanks for that. Okay, next question. Alberto mentions here, when I use a camera, like run camera and take a movie to make the face mocap, what do I have to do? Okay, so previously I mentioned a little bit about the headset that you can use. FaceWare head cam, this should pop up. Okay, so again, this thing, FaceWare. Maybe this page will work here. Oh, weird. Okay, so they had like they should have face like headgear that you can use. Okay, you can see them. They're using it right here. So that thing that guy has right there, it's kind of a specialized helmet that you use with FaceWare, and has a kind of an arm that pops out with a webcam on it. Let's see if I can find it here. Camera systems, maybe. Yeah. Oh man, this site's tricky to navigate. So it should pop up here, the headgear. But to be honest, what you can do is you can kind of jerry rig your own. Yeah, these ones I'm talking about here. So FaceWare sells these, and I think the last time I checked, they were like $1,000 or something like that. They weren't cheap, but you can kind of like jerry rig your own, to be honest, MacGyver your own, whatever you want to say. I found like a selfie head mount. It's kind of similar to this one on the right. You can find like a selfie head mount from like Walmart or something for like $10, and you can just screw your webcam onto it, or even like use some masking tape and tape it onto your head rig like this. If budget is an issue, that might be something you want to explore. Again, you'll have to have the power source for it. You can wrap the power source around the pole or whatever it is, like this. Okay. Yeah, you can purchase these rigs from the FaceWare site. But again, if you're resourceful, you can just go to Walmart or something and get the just search for like selfie stick or like selfie head mounts on your shoulders and stuff like that. You can just connect your webcam to that. And again, not really cheap though. Let's move on to the next item here. There's no prices on here that I can see. Okay, but these this is like super high quality stuff. And if the best results are what you need, and you have the money, definitely take a look at these. Yeah, a lot of information there, and technical specs and all that stuff. Okay, let's go back to the Q&A here. Just want to kind of show you guys where you can get the FaceWare headgear if you need to. Okay, someone's asking if I can use FaceWare and iPhone at the same time. Yeah, definitely. I can whip that up for you. So I still have FaceWare for real time loaded up. Let's. I got a bunch of notifications here. Live face, and I need to set up my Xmirage. Okay. Okay, there we go. There's me. Okay, so again, I'm using the Wi-Fi, and there's my phone. So I'm using both at the same time. Okay, and they can both run at the same time. Again, ideally, what I want to do is connect my phone via cord to the computer, but you can see both running at the same time there. I'm not going to spend too much time showing that, but there's a wireframe. Okay, just to show you, they both work at the same time. Okay, let's just close this down. All right, more Q&A. Okay, so Tony mentions here, if you have Cartoon Animator 4 and its mocap solution, can you just capture a still image from iClone or another 3D app and use it as long as it's a still image, and you rig it accordingly? So Tony, I think what you're talking about is image sequences. And yeah, you can use image sequences to do your capture. And I'll just close my face down there. Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit not clear on the wording on this message here, but yeah, image sequences can be used as well. I don't have any image sequences handily available, but if that's what you're doing, if you have a pre-recording of your face, a video of that, you just want to change it to an image sequence, you can do that in any sort of video editing software like Premiere or something. You can create your own image sequence and then export that to the FaceWare. Or FaceWare, or we also have real time for iClone rather. So Tony also mentions here in Cartoon Animator 4, I want to have the 2.5D characters or the 360-degree heads that we just introduced. Okay. Can you actually do that image sequence in the Cartoon Animator 3? settings. Doesn't look like we have the image sequence option available yet. By the way, I'm using the Face3 tracker. This is the same technology that we use. This one's for Cartoon Animator 4. It doesn't look like we have the image sequence available yet. So unfortunately, that might not be an option. But that is something that we probably likely will include very soon. If there's any features that you guys really want to see included in Cartoon Animator 4 or any other software, we have a section in the forum called Wishful Features. You can go to forum.reallusion.com and Wishful Features and throw that in there. We're always looking for new ideas and new suggestions from our customers in each individual part here. So here, Wishful Feature, okay? So this part right here, any features that you'd like to see, we check this regularly, okay? So highly recommended to throw your stuff in here. Our development team checks it regularly. I'll throw the link in the chat window here for you guys. Okay, so you can check that out and give us any sort of feedback that you want. Alrighty, where's my Q&A window? There it is. So John actually mentions here something, a good question. The Samsung S10 Plus and future models have a depth cam. Will you be adding these as well? Oh, I sure hope so. Because as someone who's never used an iPhone in his life, and I've just gotten my first iPhone recently, the end of last year, I'm still getting used to it. I've been an Android guy for my whole life, and although I don't harbor any ill will or any hate towards Apple products or anything like that, I just do find myself more familiar with the Android. I think I've heard rumblings of Android stuff being integrated into our facial capture as well. However, I can't give a solid timeline on that, but there is discussion about adding that into the fold there. Okay, so Oleg asks, how do I edit the motion capture from FaceWare? I think I just kind of went through like most of the best practices for editing the capture from FaceWare, editing your raw motion capture data. Any specific questions, if you want me to go over anything at all, maybe clarify a bit more on the question there. So John asks, if you have a webcam that accepts 1080p at 60 frames per second, can FaceWare real-time use that, or is it limited to 30 frames per second? I've never tried with 60 frames per second, so unfortunately I can't answer that question specifically. I don't think that we have that option available yet. 60 frames per second would be really detailed though, really ideal for facial capture. I think if your machine can support it, we will support it in the future for sure, but I'm just not sure at this point if we do, because I currently haven't gotten my hands on a 60 frame per second webcam yet. That's possible in the future, but I think for now the facial capture is limited to 30 frames per second. So I just bought this laptop I'm using right now. I just bought it last year, and it's a fairly high-end laptop. And again, I'm not sure about the webcam, but that's something that we will have in the future. Again, it's just as technology advances, we're always adapting and integrating that stuff into our software. Yeah, I can't give you a solid answer on when that'll be integrated. So Oleg asks, when will there be updates on FaceWare? We're always updating FaceWare. The next thing that I think is going to be integrated into the Motion Live plugin is Xsense. Okay, we're going to be expanding our offering of Xsense stuff. So the Xsense Manus VR is called here. We're going to be having this. This is Certainty. We will be supporting this for hand capture before CGraph. of this year. So I think CGraph is in July or August there. So we're already experimenting with it, and we've had a lot of requests for this Manus VR for Xsense, and works fairly well. Okay, it's super hard to integrate it, but we're spending a lot of resources to get this developed right now. So this will be the next update for Motion Live. In terms of updates on FaceWare, that really depends on a lot of things on FaceWare as well, how they update their technology. So Jenny mentions here, would the shaking you mentioned have anything to do with fluorescent light flickering? That's a possibility. Ideally, I would really try to avoid fluorescent lights when you're doing motion capture, because the fluorescent lights are just going to wash everything out. And any capture, they're just going to wash it out, and you're not going to get accurate results. And fluorescent lights also tend to cast very heavy shadows. So you definitely don't want to do that. You just want even lighting on the front of your face, and that'll get you the best results in the end. So yeah, fluorescent light is something you definitely want to avoid with any facial capture. Another question from Oleg here: which is better, perception neuron or Rococo? I mean, there's different levels of perception neuron. There's the V32. There's different levels, anywhere from 1,000. I think the cheapest is 1,900 right now. It goes all the way up to like over 5,000. Depends on how many sensors you want, and the technology as well. The newer stuff, the V32 here. Again, it all really depends on your price. So there's the Neuron Pro and the V2. Okay, so the V2 is let's just click on it here. There we go. This is the there's 32 neurons, and it's fairly good. I would say that this one is the basic startup point for most people getting into body motion capture. You can see right now it's at $17.99. Okay, so it's a very decent price, and this is your starting point for any sort of body motion capture. I think this is literally the cheapest one you can get. But again, I've used this personally, and I think you can still get decent capture. And again, it goes up to the Neuron Pro, okay, which is the upgraded version right here. And these ones use it's wireless, okay. Now this one, the technology is a bit more advanced as well, but again, it really depends on your budget and what you need it for. I like perception neuron. Rococo is really good as well. We've recently launched. We're actually currently developing, upgrading our Rococo motion profile, gear profile. Okay. Rococo is a bit pricier. I think at this point in Rococo, this one right here. I haven't checked the Rococo pricing in a while, but they do have a very good a team over there. We're very close in developing with them with their team. Really good stuff. The only restriction is with the Rococo is that I've come across is if you're using it in a classroom, for example, and you have students of all different shapes and sizes. The Rococo suit, obviously, it's stretchy, but it's not going to stretch to meet all different body types. Whereas the perception neuron will kind of strap onto anywhere. Those are the main differences. But again, both are excellent hardware to use. I can't really comment on which one's better, but the only difference I can think of is that that classroom setting, because I deal with a lot of classrooms myself, and that's kind of what we kind of heard from people. John asks, does placing dot markers on the face help to improve the resolution? No, placing dot markers on your face is not going to really help at all. That's kind of more of a specialized solution, John. So it's not going to really help with this kind of capture. Okay, so Steve asks here, not a FaceWare question, but something I'm curious about. I noticed Adobe is trying to get into the character creation world with Adobe Fuse. Can we import characters made in their app? yeah, you can definitely, if they're in FBX format, OBJ format, whatever, you can import any of those characters into iClone. However, we have our competing product, Character Creator 3, which I think is, we're doing really well with that. And that's a really comprehensive tool, Character Creator 3. Highly recommend it to anybody at this point. It's an industry-leading tool at this point for 3D character creation. Very flexible, and a lot of stuff you can do with it. So I'd highly recommend taking a look at Character Creator 3. There's a free version that comes with iClone, and the pipeline version, which has a lot more features. That is, I think, $199 or something. But yeah, to answer your question, you can import Adobe Fuse characters if they go to FBX format. But we don't have a template for them yet, so you'll have to do manual rigging or manual retargeting when you bring them in at this point. However, I think we'll adapt to that in the future, in the very near future. All right. Okay. One final question here from Christopher. Can Zoom depth camera or the old PlayStation depth cameras work? Unfortunately, we don't have support for those yet, Christopher, but I think that's something that I've kind of used in the past for other things. As you may know, if you've been with following Reallusion for a while, we used to use the Kinect sensor for motion capture. That was at the very beginning back in the day, and again, that was a depth camera. But in terms of the body capture, we've kind of moved on to and the higher end stuff like OptiTrack or Accent and stuff, because obviously for 360-degree captures, you can't just be facing a camera. Whereas for your face, that often works fine. But for body, the ideal situation is to have a suit that captures 360-degree animations a bit better. Okay, guys, I think that's all the questions we have in the Q&A section. Sorry for kind of droning on there, and hopefully you learned a few things in this webinar. Again, sorry for a couple of glitches there, but any questions you have, you can also email me, kai@reallusion.com. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions personally that you may have, and work together with you to kind of get your projects underway. Again, make sure you fill out the survey for us. Always helps to get your feedback on how we can improve in the future. Really appreciate any feedback that you guys have. We're always trying to improve our offerings, our webinars, and our products. And we really depend strongly on user feedback to get that integrated into our improved software offerings. Yeah, so the survey, 10% on the content store. Make sure you fill that out. And my email there, you can contact me. There's our YouTube channel, which always has new videos coming out, a lot of them done by yours truly. So yeah, keep on checking back on the website and YouTube channel, all that fun stuff. And I think if there are no further questions, we'll just sign off for the day. And hopefully you guys enjoy your Tuesday, a nice bright summer sunny Tuesday here on the West Coast. Hopefully you guys have a good time as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off. And thanks so much, everyone, for being with us today. And we'll hopefully see you in our webinar next week as well. All right, thanks.